Do we have to disclose identities in this podcast?
We don't have to.
Oh.
Relationship is never built in rows. So in the auditorium, it's set not to build relationship.
Right.
Relationship is built around the table.
Yeah. He starts walking toward me, and I said, our church does these cookies just to show you God's love and welcome you to the community. And he said, "What did you say?" I said, "Well, our church," and before I even finished, he collapsed on the ground sobbing. And I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I have a gun over there, and I was about to kill myself. And I was sitting here praying, God, if there's another way, send me a sign." And so I sat there with this man for quite a while until his family and stuff got there. And he just kept saying, he heard me, he answered me.
Frankly, we've got a lot of lukewarm people in our churches.
I mean, I beg God to take the desire to pastor away.
One of my favorite Hendricks quotes, Howard Hendricks, is, not Jimmy, you can impress somebody at a distance, but you can only impact them up close.
God can handle the big questions.
Hi, I'm Chris McNeil, and this is Ministry on the Move, a journey podcast interviewing pastors and ministers across the country. As the father of the McNeils, I get to travel all across this land singing the gospel, and one day it dawned on me that I was already having great conversations with pastors. And then came the conviction that maybe I should hit the record button and share these inspiring, insightful, and hopeful conversations with you. Join me on a journey to churches of all shapes and sizes, different parts of the country, and see just what it takes to shepherd the body of Christ. For more information on the McNeils, you can visit us at mcneilmusic.tv or mcneilmusic.com, or follow us on Facebook at The McNeils with 2 L's. Thanks for joining us, and here's the show. Hey, thanks for joining. This is Chris. This is some bonus content. This is I'm calling this episode 14.A. This is the remainder of my conversation. It's an extra 20 minutes with John, but it was after we prayed and just kept the tape rolling, as it were, and thought that you guys might want to hear it. So I may do this from time to time just for the fun of it, and thought it would be fun for you to be a fly on a wall. All right. Here's the rest of the interview. I'm going to say right now that this is probably going to be a 3-part interview. So they will drop on Monday morning, not anytime soon, probably in August or late July. So
I have to wait that long
yeah,
to listen to this?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Well, I've got it stacked up. I only released one a week. and when I got started, I put 10 in the hopper before I told anybody about it, right? So
gotcha.
That I can, if I forget or somebody doesn't want to do it or whatever, I can take a break.
Gotcha.
So this will most certainly at least be a 2-part. I'll have to look and see how long we ran because
this has been fun.
It has been a ball.
I've never been interviewed before. I feel like a celebrity.
Well, you should.
Because you've got the fancy little screen and everything in front of the microphone. I feel so professional.
Well, it sounds good this way. I've been very pleased with the results of the podcast. And it's funny, I'm even letting this run because this is just, I may cut it off in the end, but it's always a pleasure to talk to you about anything. And so, that was the impetus. I was driving the bus and we were going somewhere. And I felt like the Lord said, "You're having some pretty special conversations with pastors. Why don't you hit the record button?
Document them."
Yep. Let others hear it. They need to.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And you're in a unique position to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think that's why it's, if it is successful, and I'm not saying it will be, I think I've got 7 or 8 episodes released, and there's each one of them's been listened to maybe 70 or 80 times. So
That's pretty good for a start.
maybe.
That's
Maybe.
very good for a
Yeah,
start.
if we're having this conversation in a year, I suspect it'll have gone up. So and they're from different places in the world. I saw there was someone in Norway listening. We've never been to Norway. There's somebody in Australia listening. There's somebody in Ohio. We haven't been to Ohio. I mean, we've been through it, but we've never sung there. There's places in Illinois. We haven't sung there.
Wow.
So you don't know what I don't know. But I think it's valuable because this is, you know what? This is probably why I didn't hit the stop button. One of the reasons the Lord put me on the bus, one of the reasons He put us on the road was for me to see the 7,000 knees that have not bowed down to Baal.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I didn't think they existed. I thought I was the only one.
So you getting into traveling music ministry has been refreshing to you as opposed to actually bringing you down or depressing you
Absolutely.
or jading you. Which goes back to something I said at the very beginning of this. You seem to me even more humble. I mean, you've always been humble, but even more so now than when I met you 6 years ago. You seem to be even more content and more humble. So this has been a positive thing for you.
It has been a revival for me.
But you also realize that this industry that you're in could take you the other direction.
And tries.
Could take you the other direction.
And tries to take us the other
Okay,
direction.
same thing with church.
That's right. Yeah. No, you're totally right. In fact, we've made some hard choices to try and be pruned.
You've taken the path that is not easier for you.
Right.
But is better.
And we've said this forever that, well, again, it tests your motivation. Do you want to sing in front of 10,000 people? Or do you want the Lord to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant?
Well, you sang in front of 106 today, and you had 106 people praising the Lord God Almighty with every fiber of their being.
And I'm here to say, when I put my head on the pillow, that gets me to the next town.
And to be honest with you, I'm still impressed that you've had the level of success that you've had, and you're still willing to come to a church of our size.
I think it's our heart to be in the local assembly. We're doing a show, I guess next week, and it's at a civic center, and it's in a town. It's in a town up in Indiana that we've done very well in. We have a really good following. I think there's 5 or 7 churches that we've played there. And so we've, got posters and we've done Facebook ads and blah, blah, blah.
There's some really good people in Indiana.
Yes, there are. My wife came as an export in Indiana.
She's I did not realize that.
Yep. In fact, it's her hometown. So she's got family there. That's one of the reasons that we've done so well. But we're playing on a neutral turf this time. And so it changes the event, right? Because there's no home turf.
Gotcha.
It's not a Baptist venue. It's not a Methodist venue. It's not a Church of God. It's not Assembly of God. It's just a civic center. And we'll be fine. I mean, we'll do what we do. But it's like playing at Dollywood. It's the same thing. We go to Dollywood. It's a neutral venue. But we don't change who we are.
No.
When we go to those places. But our heart is to be in the local assembly. And even in the intimate part of it, I think, says a lot, is a big player for us, to have an intimate environment where I can look people in the eye. When you play in front of 10 or 12,000 people, I told the kids in the early days of the ministry that I would much rather play in front of 10,000 people than I would 10 people. And they said, "Dad, have you ever played in front of 10,000 people?" I said, "No, but I have played in front of 1,000." and that's that's probably kind of like it. And they said, "Oh, okay, well, we haven't played in front of 1,000 people." Because it's church that First Baptist Garland. Well, that was 1,000 people in every service, 2 services. And, but then we played in front of 10,000 people. And so they said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't have to look at it. You can't make eye contact with everybody."
Yeah, see, I think it's easier to preach to 10,000 people or 5,000 people or 1,000 people because you don't really know them.
Right.
You may step on toes and you may have 50 people who say, "I'm never coming back here." You don't even know that they walked out.
That's right. Or walked in.
You don't know.
Yeah. You have no idea.
If you're preaching to 100 people, and okay?
Yeah.
Now, I would choose that if I had the choice. I would rather preach and pastor to a smaller group of people that I know, but I'm also aware that if I preach on this particular topic, so-and-so over there, this is, and I don't mean that I water it down, but I'm also saying it in the sense that it's like I'm talking to my family member.
Right.
How do I say this in a way
right.
that is affirming and loving to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Because I know this may hit you hard.
Yeah. It doesn't stop it from being the truth, but
I'm not
it may
gonna
hurt.
I'm not gonna throw it out there without caution because I don't know you. I'm gonna say it and pray that God will help me say it in a way that will minister to you and not drive you away.
Yep. And I think that's been the reason for our heart being in the small, medium. We go into churches of all sizes.
And yet the world is out there saying the small churches, like, pooey on them. Like, that's where it's at. That's family.
Yeah, I agree.
This has been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. I hate to hit the stop button, but I think it's probably time. So to everybody out there in Ministry on the Move land, is that a thing?
It is now.
Yeah.
You have declared it a thing.
I have a dream. I'll know that this has become what I had envisioned when we have Ministry on the Move Con 1. And we have to rent out some hotel and I don't know, maybe the McNeils will do an hour concert, and then we'll do interviews with pastors and let the pastors interview the pastors. And
Okay, if it becomes a movie, who gets to play me?
you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're hired.
Okay, cool.
I mean, who else is going to do Calvin Klein?
Don't go there.
Okay. Well, we're going to call this one. Thank you for listening to this episode of Ministry on the Move. I've been your host, Chris McNeil, with my dear friend, John Gators.
I love you, brother.
And so tune in next time. I don't know who's going to be next. I think it's Stephen Ford from Michigan. Where in Michigan? Somewhere up in Michigan. It's
Don't look at me. I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, it's in Michigan. Or we may get Ben Isaacs. We'll be in the studio next week with Ben, and I may try and pull him in for 30 minutes.
That would be good.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be good.
I'll have to make sure that he's okay with it. But we're going to see him tomorrow. They're playing in Hendersonville, so we're going to watch him. And then we'll have Tuesday off, and then we've got Wednesday and Thursday in the studio before we have to head up for 4 dates in Michigan and 3 in Indiana. So lots coming down the Ministry on the Move pike. Please stay tuned. If you would like and subscribe or share, comment, feedback is more than welcome. We would really love to hear from you. Where are you listening from? And tell us what you want to hear me ask pastors about. Okay, we'll call that a day. Lord bless you. Thanks, and bye-bye. My son Aiden just came in and said, "Can I have a bookmark?" I burst into tears. The kid's 13 years old and he still doesn't know my name is Chris.